It was a bizarre innings, somewhat indicative of Delhi Capital's season on the whole. Chasing 168, they were 69 for no loss in 6.1 overs. They contrived to lose 6 for 19 in the next 4 overs, and the game was pretty much done, and with that is done their season. Delhi Capitals become the first team to be officially out of contention in the playoffs race in IPL 2023. Those 2 points also mean big things for Punjab Kings, who stay alive, and it also means that Prabsimran Singh's fantastic century in the first innings does not go in vain. So on ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, presented by Visit Saudi, it gives us a lot to talk about with Ian Bishop and Amol Muzumdar this evening, and let me begin by congratulating you too. Not often we get our predictions right, but it felt brave, despite it being 8 for no loss in 2 balls when you backed Punjab, and they paid off for you.
I think it was a brave call, isn't it?
Pride. I think pride kept us backing our initial judgment.
I was just about to change it when you gave me that offer, but I said, no, Amol, you got to keep it, as
Stay
you
the
said.
course.
Yes, stay the course.
Right. And I'm sure if I spoke to you guys at the end of the power play, you might have wanted to change it. Such was Delhi's start. But before we focus on how Delhi lost it, Punjab spinners came into play, and this has not been a spin attack that has had the best of times throughout the season. Harpreet Brar, Rahul Chahar running through Delhi in effectively a 4-over spell that decided this game. What did you make of that passage, Fish?
Tremendous for a couple of reasons. I want to start at the back end of Rahul Chahar's spell. When the ball started spinning, it was always spinning, but it seemed to gather pace in that last over. He didn't get a wicket, but it spun so quickly and sharply. It was almost intimidating. But I go back to a game that Delhi beat RCB when they chased 180 odd.
Yep.
And I remember all through the discussion about how RCB spinners were bowling in that game was too short, salt. Everybody was hitting the ball off the back foot, and it wasn't until the very end that I think a spinner pitched the ball up and got salt dismissed. And we saw an adjustment in length today from the spinners outside of the power play. And they started pitching the ball up. When you pitch the ball up when it's gripping, you bring a lot of things into play. Whereas if you're short, you guys can sit back and punch it. So it was a nice adjustment in length, I thought, from what we've seen previously on that surface.
The star of that Punjab bowling effort was Harpreet Brar, who finished with 4 for 30, the wickets being Phil Salt, Riley Russo, David Warner and Manish Pandey. Amol, this is a bowler who we have in the past this season wondered why Punjab have refused to go to the minute they have seen left-handers. But today, against a side which did have quality left-handers, you saw the value of a bowler who's bowling well. He will get you wickets regardless of left-hand or right-hand.
And he got rid of today David Warner.
And Riley Russo.
So there you go, the matchups and things like that, you got to use it very judiciously. You can't just have one set of mind track. So I think he bowled brilliantly. There was some offer from the pitch, and he used it. I mean, Bish has just nailed it over there. The moment they started to pitch the ball up, different dismissals came into play. LBW bowled.
Yes.
Certain things went off. Riley Russo went for one, tried to hit it over mid-wicket. So I think adjustment and quickly analyzing what's good enough over here. I mean, Delhi were in self-destruction mode. 69 for 1. Let me read it. 74 for 2. And by the end of the 6th wicket, they were 88 on the board.
Yeah.
So not even 20, how many?
That's
19
4 overs,
runs?
19 runs, 6 wickets.
6 wickets. It was just bizarre passage of play.
There's one thing to add to that, and I want to credit Deep here, because I remember that conversation came up when Deep was here, and I asked him, well, how do you know when you match up and when you don't match up? And Deep said the difference in that game that he would have used Harpreet was because the pitch was actually gripping, and the pitch was gripping tonight. And how much credit does that one deserve? I don't know if it's a little late or too late in the season, but he received a lot of criticism for not bowling Harpreet that much earlier in the season. And tonight, at least he made the adjustment and gave him the benefit of those overs. So from a captaincy point of view, at least, it seems as though he picked up something and he learned, and that's all you can ask for.
It might not be too late, Bish, as we'll find out.
But we don't know. We don't know.
A little later, when we see the points table,
Yeah.
you'll see how Punjab Kings are still got their fate in.
No, but I'm talking about at the end of the round, because there's still work to do. So you don't know, you know.
But sorry about that. So just to add one last cent to it, that matchup of Harpreet Brar being sent in the batting order, that didn't match up. That was a complete no-no.
So they continue to not match well with matchups, do Punjab, one way or the other. But just coming back on Harpreet, Bish, because this is a bowler who's hardly been given his quota. I think only once before this season has he bowled 4 overs. There are so many innings where he's bowled 1 or 2 or not bowled. So for them to come in this role, and mind you, the weightage of this game for Punjab, given that they are still so relevant to the playoffs race, just speaks volumes of a bowler's ability too.
Yeah, I mean, but as bowlers, and I think he would have the same spirit that us as former fast bowlers do, want to bowl. I know a lot of guys, I want to bowl, I'm eager to bowl, captain won't let me bowl, but I'm ready. I'm ready to step up whenever I'm given the chance. And sometimes it spurs you on even more. Let me show skipper that he was wrong for not bowling me as much as I think I should have been bowling.
Worth spending some time also on Rahul Chahar. You mentioned that last over where he was spinning it a country mile. Finishes 2 for 16 with the wickets of Mitch Marsh and Akshar Patel. He was also a real standout bowler in their last game, 2 for 23 and 4 in that game where KKR chased down 180 in the last over, and we couldn't get to him. Rahul Chahar had his own difficulties through the first 7 or 8 games of this season. What's he done better in these last 2 games?
I think he bowled at a very good pace today, and there were a lot of revs on the ball. He believed in that leg spin more, and hence he created the doubt. And once that ball started to grip, he didn't let go. Once, you know, it was coming out of his hand really nicely, he hastened things up. He did not allow the batters to settle down at all and created that doubt. And once those doubts are created in a batter's mind, I think you've won half of the battle, 3/4 of the battle, I think.
That's one side of that passage which decided this game. The other side of it, Delhi with that batting effort. What do you imagine the conversation is going to be like with Ricky Ponting when he welcomes his batters back into that dressing room?
That's a good question for Amol.
All right, you first, Amol.
Look, yes, they've had a very tough season, but you got to take it on the chin and just move ahead. Take whatever positives you've gathered throughout the season. I know the season's gone. There are a couple of games more to be played. The last thing you can do is just go in different directions. If you want the franchisee to do well, you've invested in some of the players. Think about the players. Think about what they would be thinking, and probably not much of talking in the dressing room. Just try and get the players together, stay together for the next 2 games and see what happens. Not much of talk.
What that collapse has also done is it's taken away an opportunity to speak about David Warner today, because for once you saw an unshackled David Warner, perhaps easily the most unshackled version of him we've seen this season. It was a 23-ball 50, his fastest since 2017. While he was out there, it looked like Warner was just so much freer, and it was still quite the sight.
Yeah, well, he was the one that emphasized, along with Riley Russo in the previous game, that since they had to win every game, that they were going to play fearlessly and freely, and we saw that side of him tonight. But they were always going to go hard in that power play. I mean, Phil Salt will continue doing what Phil Salt does, irrespective of the conditions. And the power play was good. They got 69 in 6.2, 65 in the power play. But they always knew, as Punjab did, that once you get outside of the power play and into the middle overs and the ball gets soft and the spinners come on, that was going to be where the truer test was going to happen. And tonight it did. So Ricky will probably, I think I know Ricky reasonably well now, and one of the things that he'll be saying is, could we have thought about our shot selection a little bit more? Could we have worked a little bit harder and make better choices against certain bowlers? So that is something that one or two guys might reflect on, but the middle overs were always going to be the test.
Yeah, while that power play was on, I was almost thinking Delhi Capitals might be doing their net run rate some favors. Not that their net run rate will come into the picture too much, but would have helped them in a 9 versus 10 battle maybe. Let's take a look at that points table, shall we? Because Punjab have taken a bit of a jump. They were 8th when this game began. They moved to 12 points. They also do their net run rate a sizable amount of good, a 31-run win, which sees them take their net run rate above that of Bangalore's. Also Kolkata's, who are all teams who could well be in that mix of teams that can finish on 14 or 16 points. Punjab themselves remain with a shot to finish with 16, which potentially could even take you through without net run rate coming into the picture.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's anybody's game now. With Punjab winning this one, tomorrow's game is interesting as well. Rajasthan versus Bangalore. Rajasthan would be playing their 13th one, so that's penultimate, and Bangalore would be having 2 more games beyond tomorrow. So I think a lot of teams are trying to get to the playoffs, and yeah, the points table is interesting, very interesting.
And given the fixtures, Bish, Punjab are probably happiest with how it works, because now these two teams who were in action today probably take the same route to Dharamsala, where they now meet again on Wednesday. And Delhi, given all that we spoke about, the sense of deflation, knowing it's officially over, arguably the best match for Punjab?
Oh, you don't want to be playing the opposite. You don't want to be playing against the teams at the top of the table for sure. This is a big win tonight that spurs them on for that encounter against a further deflated team. So a number of seasons, I think, going back, Punjab have had, it might not be too strong a term, their destiny in their own hands at times, and have lost games they should have won. Well, here's another chance for them to try to control to some extent their destiny, playing the team down at the bottom of the log. So they're lucky in 2 forms, playing Delhi and playing in Dharamshala. I love Dharamshala. It is the most beautiful place in the cricketing family.
Yeah, but other than all the permutations and the calculations involved, Punjab Kings fans are going to have to keep their fingers crossed, because the weather in Dharamsala for next week
spoil it.
does not look the greatest. There is a chance of rain.
Even when it rains in Dharamshala, it's beautiful.
It is beautiful, but not if you're looking
for
for
beautiful when it rains.
And cold.
But not if you're looking for 2 points.
No, forget about the points. We're talking, we're talking about the aesthetics of the place. It is beautiful. It's like a spiritual journey. I'm sorry for digressing. Every time I've gone there, and it has rained a few times when we've gone there, 1 or 2 other experiences as well, it is worth every moment of your time to go to that ground, to go up into the hills, and to see the place. I know some of my colleagues cannot wait. The guys going there cannot wait to go.
Don't apologize at all, because now I'm hoping that on that Wednesday in Punjab and Delhi, if you're around, we don't have a lot to speak about Delhi at this stage of the season. So maybe we'll just talk about Dharamsala and its sights and sounds.
That's beautiful.
But just after that, Punjab Kings will have that game against Delhi. After that, on Friday, they play Rajasthan Royals. And if you just look at that points table, why it could be quite interesting, that will be the last game for both Punjab and Rajasthan. They could both potentially be on 14 points going into it. So you will see a proper knockout to end that game. But that's still Friday. That's a long way away. So much is still to move in this points table, which keeps moving so much. Saturday in itself brings Rajasthan Royals against Royal Challengers Bangalore, which is as much of a 4-pointer as any of the ones we've been building up to over the past week as this race to the playoffs intensifies. So catch up on everything that's been said after this game and that points table and what it means for Punjab. Lots of scenarios coming into play every other day. All of that on the ESPN Cricinfo mobile app. Rajasthan, Bangalore, it's a cracker to begin Saturday afternoon. So we'll be back on at 3 p.m. Thank you and good night to Amol and Bish. And that's a wrap. this Friday evening on Visit Saudi presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout.